Hey, hey, hey. Time for another out of this world story from our space. My wife had an affair with an ex-boyfriend from 6 years ago, and I am so lost. Long and the short is that my wife has been Snapchatting her ex-boyfriend from over 6 years ago. To preface the situation, we have been together for a bit over 6 years, married going on a bit over a year and a half. Have recently been in marriage counseling for 3 weeks now due to rocky roads financial-wise, but things have honestly been on the up and up. We argue better and are honestly communicating our needs and feelings. Or so I thought. She went to walk the doggo tonight and left her phone on the couch. I normally don't ever search through her phone, as I trust her more than anyone I know. As I was walking past her phone to go to our room, her screen lit up with a Snap notification from someone with the same exact name as her ex. I picked up her phone, unlocked it, and upon opening Snapchat, saw that she has a 64-day Snap streak with this dude. I opened the Snap and it was a pic of him. It was indeed her ex-boyfriend. To make matters worse, there is an emoji symbol next to his name with 2 hearts, which, upon Googling, I found out apparently means they have been each other's #1 Snap friend for 2 months straight. This is not the first time some shady stuff has happened with her in texting other guys. She had a male coworker that was obviously interested in her about 8 or 9 months ago, and I made it very apparent that I didn't like him, as he was texting her about non-work related stuff after 9 to 10 at night. So it came time for her to upgrade her phone, and I was setting up her new one and saw that she had muted notifications from this guy. In the texts, he had asked her to meet up for coffee and she had agreed, but something had come up, so it didn't happen. I will admit, I'm not a good communicator when dealing with emotional stuff, especially when it is confronting someone I trust with my life. Shout out foster care emotional trauma. So I held on to it for a few days to digest and then confronted her about it. She broke down and said she had muted the convo because she saw that I would get upset when he was texting her, work-related or not. We made up. She promised to not let anything happen like that again. That was the last time I checked her phone. And then fast forward to now and I find this freaking garbage. Regarding the ex situation, I'm not sure what to do. I am obviously not meeting her needs in some way if she finds it okay to communicate with her ex-boyfriend on Snapchat every day for over 2 months straight. I've asked about him before as we were discussing making fun of crazy exes in jest like a month or 2 ago, and I asked if she still talked to him or if he talked with her, and she said only a few times a year, and she was cordial with him. Just lost and would love some perspective on what to say, how to move forward. I love this woman to death and want to make this work. I'm just so lost. Update. I woke up this morning, confronted her about it, asked her if there was anything she needed to tell me, and she fessed up to having been talking to her ex-boyfriend. To preface this, our marriage has been pretty rocky about the past 6 months. I will admit that I have definitely not done my part as her husband to meet her emotional needs, as I have been grinding away at work. In January, I personally took the initiative to seek therapy to better help me explain my emotions and feelings to her, and I was in therapy for 3 months. I'd say it worked, as we seem to have gotten better as a couple from March to April. The base of our issues are financial and emotional expectations not being met. I am a programmer. I work a high-stress, high-paying job to provide for my family, and due to the nature of my job, I would get home most nights, eat dinner with her, hang out for a bit, and then squirrel myself away in my office to decompress. In April, we again sat down and explicitly laid out expectations to one another, and hers was that I needed to come home to bed at the same time every night and be more present, among other things. Pick up a bit more around the house, laundry, etc., etc. I took her words to heart and seriously tried to fix my behavior. I struggled the first month, but got into the swing of things by June and into July. Stuff seemed to be going well, and then I left for some training in July. It all seemed to implode while I was away at training. She had overspent like crazy while I was gone, but suddenly needed space, and it wasn't helping anything that I was away from her. She quit her stressful job without even telling me, and I was pretty pissed off because she was just unilaterally choosing to do things that impacted both of us. I get back, and she is telling me that she was upset I wasn't supporting her and doing what she thought was right, and that she figured out what she wanted to do. She mocked up a list of all the things she wanted, not even taking into account the added pressure I now felt, being the sole breadwinner. We even went out to dinner on my birthday, and it devolved into a fight about her and her happiness. You can read how I discovered the emotional affair in the above-linked post, but the long and the short is that this morning when I confronted her, I got to spend 4 agonizing hours on the receiving end of a trickle-truthing, or whatever it's called, before she finally admitted that she had been messaging him on and off for months. She told me that she still has love for him, like a soulmate pull, and that due to us being on rocky roads, she had just continued talking to him and confided in him the problems happening in our marriage. He is freaking engaged. The more I dug into her story, the more was revealed. Nudes were sent back and forth for, what she tells me, the last few months on and off. The most recent time was last week. She flew to see her mom in March for a little trip, and while there, her ex picked her up on their last day before her plane ride out in the morning, and they had breakfast. He took her to the airport, and she told me that they kissed before she left. I'm so freaking lost. We have no kids, but I make about 85% of the income. Don't know how it would work out divorcing and splitting crap up. I'm so scared. I don't want to have to start over, but I don't know if I can ever look at her the same. She still loves this guy, and he obviously still loves her. I reached out to the affair partner's fiance and told her. Of course, the affair partner is denying the nudes and kissing and such. I'm just kinda in shock and friggin' lost. How does the community react to this one? Richie J, 86 says, "Not gonna tell you how to live your life, but the nudes would be a wrap for me. That's a line crossed. No exceptions. Divorce proceedings. Everybody knows their relationships, and unless you both agree to an open one, I don't see how even the least egregious of transgressions would fly. She lied to you in the beginning, so that's the other nail in the coffin. The coworker, now her ex. 1 is probably a mistake, 2 is a habit. The trust is shattered. It was already shattered, but at least you know it now, 100%. My advice would be to consider the ramifications of continuing to live with her. Working things through will adversely mean there's no consequences for her actions. I read another post on this sub today about how somebody forgave their cheating spouse, and it ended with the wayward spouse breaking up with them instead. And I feel that's indicative of somebody with no remorse, which your wife has shown. This may be presumptuous, but when you take them back, they lose respect for you, even if it means you forgave them. You're implanting in their mind that they can get away with murder, and they will absolutely abuse that privilege. Worse off, because it will become routine for them. They will stop feeling sorry for you every time they do it. You can hope for the rare off chance she is truly sorry and will mend her ways. However, you're better off hoping for snowfall in July than that happening. Fragrant Spray also has a comment. I don't want to start over. You are trying to get to the end of the street, but you are currently walking up the stairs in your house. The path you are on doesn't go where you want it to go. If you don't start over, you will simply continue on the path to a place you don't want to be. Don't let the sunk cost fallacy cause you to waste even more time and energy on this dumpster fire. Moving on to the next story. Cheated on by the woman I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. My now ex-partner cheated on me, and she has no explanation why she did it. She went out with her mates, then met some random guy at the end of the night, and went home after the pubs closed. Hurt like hell as I loved her massively and trusted her lots. She got really drunk by the end of the night and took pictures of another guy on her Snapchat in the back of a taxi, and then in his house with one of her friends. She would have known I would see them, so I don't know if she was planning to sleep with him. She told me she stayed there till the next afternoon and admitted to taking coke, which is not her at all. She looked really drunk and away with it on her pictures. She is 45 and good looking. But she's never been tempted before, and I always knew how much she disagreed with cheating. She contacted me next evening after ignoring all my calls in the morning and admitted straight away she slept with someone else. She said it was a big mistake and regrets what she did and felt ashamed. Told me she was really happy with us in the 5 years together and loved me a lot and wanted to talk things through. I didn't get angry at her because I could see how hurt she was. We also had a fantastic sex life and never really argued and got on well. She wanted to work things out, so I did because I could see the regret and guilt in her face and knowing that's not who she is. She said a condom was used, and the funny thing was I felt I could still trust her as I knew it wasn't her and how much it affected her. We had sex a few days after talking things through, and the sex felt different and weird, and she cried after it. She told me she couldn't remember much of the night she slept with the guy, so I don't know if the sex happened several times during the 13 hours they were together. She decided to end the relationship the day after that and said she wanted to be on her own and didn't want any contact with me and didn't want to see this guy again. I was so confused and felt so angry. I have doubts now if she's been honest about everything and messaged her asking if a condom was definitely used and if I needed to take an STD test. She repeatedly ignored the question and blocked me with not saying. Why would she do this? And why would she not let me know if she was being honest about using a condom? I admit I've emailed her about 8 times after taking my frustration out and telling her how horrible she is to do this. I will never contact her again as it's caused me a lot of hurt and pain. The whole situation has destroyed me. Let's check in with some quick comments before we wrap things up for the day. Soft Shoulder 313 says, "She is doing this most likely because she's a cheater and a liar. One thing that makes me think this is if she actually thought she made a mistake, why did she hang out with this guy for 13 hours? She didn't necessarily have to come home, but she stayed with him. She also did not want to answer any questions that you are owed, especially when it comes to your physical health, such as testing. Someone who loves you would at least answer that. Get tested. Maybe see a therapist. She's not the person you thought you knew. Don't let her live rent-free in your head, and don't ever let her come back." Fragrant Spray also chimes in, "She wasn't being honest with you. This is just the first time she was sloppy enough to get caught. Definitely get the STD test. Don't take her word for something so important. She broke up with you because she decided the effort she'd need to put in to try to fix it wasn't worth it. If it even could be fixed at all. If you never have contact with her again, your life will be better for it. Don't even entertain her messages when she eventually reaches out about making a huge mistake or closure. There's no closure to be had that she can provide you. She will only be reaching out for her own benefit."